It's kind of ridiculous how many books I'm surrounded by right now. Hi friends, Krista here. Thanks for stopping by Books and Jams. It is time for a book haul. I had a no buy month in October, and I knew right away November would be a buying month because my library had a book sale at the very beginning of the month. But I also know that Christmas Book Exchange is coming up very soon, and I'm going to be getting a bunch of new books very soon from my BookTube besties. So I wasn't planning on getting a lot of books this month, but I'm kind of surrounded by books right now. Let's just jump right in. I will start with the 2 books that I got from Book of the Month this month. I'm really excited that We Are the Light by Matthew Quick was one of the choices. I'm kind of surprised how thin it is. This was one of my anticipated reads from my last quarter of the year. This is going to be a contemporary about a man, Lucas. He lives in Majestic, Pennsylvania, a little suburb. Everyone in Majestic sees Lucas as a hero, except Lucas himself. His wife has just recently passed away. He kind of visits her in his dreams every night. He's having a hard time moving on, very much steeped in grief. But then an 18-year-old young man named Eli, kind of ostracized by the community, shows up, starts camping out in Lucas's backyard, and they kind of join together, and it, like, the whole town is kind of healed by that relationship. I'm not really sure exactly. It just sounds really heartwarming and lovely. So I was very excited that one of my anticipated reads was a book of the month before I even knew that it would be. So I'm really excited for that one. Then I also picked up The Rewind by Alison Wynne Scotch. I don't really know anything about this. I actually just heard Chloe from Always Booked talk about it on her end of the year book tech. She just posted this morning. This is going to be kind of a New Year's Day, New Year's Eve type of a story, possibly second chance romance. These 2 exes wake up together with wedding bands on their fingers and no idea how they got there. They have just one New Year's Eve at the end of 1999 to figure it out. I have a book of the month New Year's book that I read last year to bring in the new year, and so I think this will be a fun one to read this year on New Year's. So I was excited to get that one as well. So my most recent reading vlog just came up a couple days ago, and I just already talked about these books that I got from a book festival. I also did some little free libraries on that day, and I did find a few things, so I will share those next. But real quickly, I've already talked about these ones. Virgil Team by Bonnie Blevins. This one is a, what did she call it? A military paranormal. We follow Kia Santor, who is in the military. She finds out she has some special abilities. She ends up joining a new military organization called the Black Branch, or she's fighting against the Black Branch. I'm not sure. She was going to keep her abilities secret, but then someone finds out about them, and then she has to use them to help in a covert operation. She was super nice. I got a short story collection, Virginia is for Mysteries. There are 18 mysteries in this little tiny book, so I'm excited for some short story mysteries. I met Frances Ayler and Heather Widener, who were both at this festival, and both of them have a story in here. So I had them sign my book, and I got some mysteries to read next year. A middle grade fantasy paranormal, I forget. This is another girl who learns that she has magical powers. 14-year-old. It might be kind of young YA or teen book. 14-year-old Caroline's life has always been filled with secrets, but nothing can compare to her accidentally discovering that her whole family has magical powers. So she's thrilled to use her powers, but then she realizes someone else is using magic that wants her dead, and she's got to save her life and her family. I'm excited to support that young local author. And then most exciting from that book festival, I got to talk with Chris Register, and these are nonfiction books, Conversations with Us. These books just chronicle Chris's ride around the United States. He is attempting to travel to all 50 states. I think he's gone to 49 so far. He just has Hawaii left. And he rides his bike about 50 miles a day, and then stops and has conversations with people along the way. And this is just a log of those stories. So there are pictures to go along with each section. In the back end papers are all of the people that he spoke to during this adventure. So I have his first one, which is the Great Lakes states, and then his second one, which is American Southwest. These are the only 2 out so far, but what a cool project. I love it. It was really fun to talk with him. And then at Little Free Libraries so far this month, I have found quite a few. I picked up a Christmas book, Christmas on the Island by Jenny Colgan. I really enjoy her books. They're just light and sweet and heartfelt. And so I grabbed a Christmas one to read this December. I always love anything Jane Austen related. And so Mr. Darcy's Dream by Elizabeth Aston is going to follow. Phoebe is a young niece of Mr. Darcy. Shattered by an unhappy romance, she retreats to Pemberley, is joined by kind-hearted Louisa Bingley, who's unmarried after 3 London seasons. And then these young ladies are situated in Pemberley, and handsome young strangers arrive at the house, and all of them are hopeful to win these girls' hearts. It just sounds sweet and fun. I'm not sure if this is going to be for me or if I'll save it for next year's Christmas book exchange. This is Death in the Air, the true story of a serial killer, the Great London Smog, and the Strangling of a City by Kate Winkler Dawson. This one just takes place in 1952 when there was a huge smog situation in London. It's right after the end of World War II. London is still recovering. For 5 days, a killer smog held the city firmly in its grip and refused to let go. But in the aftermath, another killer was stalking the streets. All across London, women were going missing. Poor women, forgotten women. Their disappearances caused little alarm, but each of them had one thing in common. They had the misfortune of meeting a quiet, unassuming man, John Reginald Christie, who invited them back to his Notting Hill flat during that dark winter, and they never left. A true story. I'm assuming that this is nonfiction, but it sounds pretty harrowing. It sounds kind of crazy. I couldn't pass it up and leave it in the Little Free Library. I grabbed Orphan X in part because I need a book with an X in it for my read through the alphabet challenge that I was doing this year. I don't think I'm going to finish this year because I really don't have a desire to pick this up right away. But this is by Greg Hurwitz. And it does sound really interesting. The Nowhere Man is a legendary figure spoken about only in whispers. It's said that when he's reached by the truly desperate and deserving, he can and will do anything to protect and save them. But he's not just a legend. I'm always drawn to books with orphan in the title, and this is very different from the rest of the orphan books on my shelves. But it sounds good. And he has a number of books out, but I've never read any. So if you are a thriller mystery reader and you've read anything, let me know if this is something you think I might like or if it might be a little too much for me. I don't know. Let me know. It's from a Little Free Library. I can always put it back in a Little Free Library, sell it on Pango. I don't know. And then I did pick up a book of short stories, Hotel of the Saints, stories by Ursula Heggie. I saw that it was short stories and I grabbed it. I mentioned in my weekend reading vlog that one of my goals for next year is going to be to read short stories. So I'm collecting books now. I liked this line. Ursula Heggie balances us on that magical border where laughter and sorrow become one. She knows the language of pleasure, the language of grace, the language of grief. I'm not really sure about this one, but I saw that it was short stories, so I picked it up. I have 2 more that I grabbed from a library sale shelf. Gentle and Lowly is going to be a gift, but it was in perfect condition, and I really loved this book this year, so I couldn't pass it up for 50 cents. And also I picked up The 100-Year-Old Man Who Climbed Out the Window and Disappeared by Jonas Jonasson. I didn't even look up the Goodreads rating or anything about this. I just like books that have an elderly protagonist. And I like that it says, this playful book will remind you to live life to the fullest. That sounds good to me. I have a small stack from Pango books. I just have a few here. I grabbed The Violin Conspiracy a while ago. It's been sitting on my shelves waiting to show you. This is by Brendan Slocum. I learned about this on the Currently Reading podcast, and it's a mystery involving music, obviously. And this musician, classical musician, a Black classical musician's desperate quest to recover his lost violin on the eve of the most prestigious musical competition in the world. So I love that it's going to be a mystery, but also have that music element. And they loved it on the Currently Reading podcast. So it's been on my radar, and I found it on Pango. Then I grabbed quite a few, I think mostly Christian fiction from one shop. I always like when I find a couple interesting ones from a shop that has free shipping if you spend a certain amount. So that's what I was able to do here. So I got When the Meadow Blooms by Anne Gabhart. Those of you who read Christian fiction, let me know. I've never heard of this author before. If any place on God's earth was designed to help one heal, it's Meadowland. Surely here at her brother-in-law's Kentucky farm, Rose and her daughters can recover from the events of the recent past, the loss of her husband during the 1918 influenza epidemic. So this is going to take place early 1900s on a Kentucky farm, deal with some grief and some family issues as well. Probably a little bit of romance in there. I picked up this one. I should have got the other one as well because this is book 3 in Brides of Hope Mountain, Her Secret Song by Mary Connealy. I've read others by Mary Connealy and have enjoyed them. A historical romance, that will be. On the Cliffs of Foxglove Manor by Jamie Jo Wright. I want to read everything that she has written. Jamie Jo Wright writes Christian suspense, I would call it, and historical suspense. In 1885, Adria Fontaine has been sent away from her home to recover goods her malevolent father pirated on the Great Lakes during the Civil War. And then centuries later, Kaylee Gibson takes on a position as a nurse's aide at a senior home in a renovated old stone manor. Abducted as a child, she has nothing but locked up memories of secrets and death, overshadowed by the chilling threat from her kidnappers that they may return. Oh, she does so good at writing creepy books that I can handle. But I love that intense kind of creepy feeling, but I know that it's not going to go too far into anything that I don't like. And then finally, A Castaway in Cornwall by Julie Klassen. I also have read some Julie Klassen before and liked it. This is going to be another historical romance set in North Cornwall. Let's do my library book sale books next. I have quite a few that I'm really excited about and some that I don't even remember. They put some of my books in this Richmond Public Library little backpack, and I'm really excited because I don't remember all that's in there. But I did get another collection of Sherlock Holmes, The Return of Sherlock Holmes by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. I do have quite a few. I have a big collection of his. This might be in there. I don't know. And then I have a smaller, The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. So some of my short stories next year will be Sherlock Holmes mysteries. I picked up Florence Adler Swims Forever by Rachel Beanland. This takes place in Atlantic City in 1934. Over the course of one summer that begins with a shocking tragedy, 3 generations of the Adler family grapple with heartbreak, romance, and the weight of family secrets. Florence, one of the sisters, deals with some of her issues by taking up swimming. And that is a way that she finds healing and hope. So I'm excited for that. I don't always look at the old books at the library book sale. We do have a whole section of kind of oldies but goodies, and they're all 50 cents a piece or a quarter. I don't even remember. I think 50 cents. But I found 3 treasures. The first one is Treasure Island by Robert Louis Stevenson. And it's not only beautiful on the cover, it has a dedication, which I love, to Donald with love and congratulations for his first decade, Mom and Dad. Sweet. But it also has somewhat colored pictures, very limited palette, but I just think that that's really cool. So I'm excited that I found that. The next one is called The Light Princess. Look how gorgeous that is. Oh my word. This is by George MacDonald, who I have heard of before. I have not heard of this book. And it has pictures by Maurice Sendak, who is a popular children's book, I don't know if Maurice Sendak is still alive. I don't know. Popular children's book illustrator. This is 1969, so it's not super old, but it does have really pretty illustrations in here as well. I just loved this cover. I thought that was gorgeous. And the third one that I grabbed, Mystery Short Stories. This is part of a collection, The World's 100 Best Short Stories, in 10 volumes. So this will have 10 short stories. This is volume 3, Mystery. I kind of wished I could have found more, but I just picked up the blue one because these 3 blue ones will make a nice little decoration somewhere. So I grabbed those. Fun oldies but goodies. Now let's look at what's in my backpack here. I did pick up a whole series because I couldn't resist. I think it's almost the whole series. Where's the rest of them? Down at the bottom, of course. I need to apologize in advance to my girls sending me books in case I have any doubles here. I'm not as worried now that I have Pango shop because the ones that I got, I'll just put on Pango. But I think I heard Misty, I'll link her channel below. I think I heard her talk about this series. This is the Miss Read series. I don't remember which one is the first, but they had 6 of them in perfect condition and they're only $1 each. And it says it'd be good for fans of the Mitford series, which I have, but I haven't read yet. But they all take place in an English village named Fairacre. And so I grabbed 6 of them. I'm not sure how many are in the series altogether, but I have Summer at Fairacre, Farewell to Fairacre, Village School, Miss Pringle of Fairacre, Village Cemetery, and Changes at Fairacre. So if you've read the Miss Read series and you think it's something that I'll like, let me know. Okay, let's see what else I picked up at the library book sale. Again, these were only $1 a piece. I got all paperbacks here, and each of these was just $1 a piece. So I used to have this, but I think I gave it to one of the girls for Christmas book exchange a couple years ago. The Haunting of Maddie Clare by Simone St. James. This is one of her older books. I have really enjoyed her newer ones. So I do want to try some of her older ones. They are also going to be pretty ghosty and creepy, I think, but I've really enjoyed her newer ones, so I'm hopeful. I grabbed Midnight at the Bright Ideas Bookstore by Matthew Sullivan. Oddball characters, layered plot, puzzle mystery, charming, and challenging. I'm excited. For that, I didn't even read the description on the back. I just remember seeing this around. I don't think it was a huge hit with a lot of people, but I'm curious. And it was only $1, so I thought I would grab it. I did pick up a historical fiction called The Indigo Girl by Natasha Boyd. This is in perfect condition, like not even a crinkle. I don't think this was even read. It's basically brand new. 1739, Eliza Lucas is 16 years old when her father leaves her in charge of their family's 3 plantations in South Carolina. And then he proceeds to bleed the estates dry in pursuit of his military ambitions. Her mother wants nothing more than for their South Carolina endeavor to fail so they can go back to England. Her family is in danger of losing everything. Hearing how much the French pay for indigo dye, Eliza believes it's their salvation, but thwarted at every turn, even by her family, she finds her only allies an aging horticulturalist, a lawyer, and a slave with whom she strikes a dangerous deal. Teach her the intricate 1,000-year-old secret process of making indigo dye, and in return, against the laws of the day, she will teach the slaves to read. So develops an incredible story of romance, intrigue, hidden friendships, threats, ambition, betrayal, and sacrifice, based on historical documents and Eliza Lucas's own letters. Sounds very interesting. So I picked that one up. Kate Quinn, The Daughters of Rome. I have liked Kate Quinn's historical fiction based on World War II. This one is obviously going to be a little bit more about the Roman Empire. I did pick up another mystery in the Maisie Dobbs series. I think this is book 4 or 5. The next one that I needed in the series. I think I'm on the one right before this, and then this one would come next. This is An Incomplete Revenge. I really am enjoying the Maisie Dobbs series, even though I haven't read it in a while. Oh, I forgot I do have another short story collection, Eudora Welty. The collected stories of Eudora Welty, who won the National Book Award for this collection. I have never read any stories by her before, so let me know if you have and what you think of them. Quite a few in here, so I have lots of options. And finally, I have a box from Book Outlet that I wasn't planning to open until after doing the Christmas book exchange, but I have no patience, and I opened it anyway. So let's see what I got myself most recently from Book Outlet. It's been a while since I've ordered from there, which I like, because sometimes I feel like I start to see all the same things, even though they change it up all the time. I've waited a couple months, and now I found some good ones. So I grabbed the Moomins and the Great Flood. Oh no, did I get this from Blackwell's? I think I got this from Blackwell's, along with, where is it? The newest Keeper of the Lost Cities. That should be hauled too, but I don't know where it is. Oh, it's right here. These are not from Book Outlet. These are from Blackwell's. So I got book 9 because it's in paperback. It's the UK edition, so the spine will look a little different, but I think the front looks pretty similar to the rest of them. A little bit different. Close enough. I just wanted it in paperback since most of my others are in paperback. But that's book 9. I will be reading that whenever Amy and I can get to it. And then The Moomins and the Great Flood is another middle grade / children's book that I've been wanting to read. So excited for that. Now book outlet. I grabbed 2 Christmas books. Christmas by the Book by Anne Marie Ryan, because of course. And look at that book Christmas tree. Cute. So cute. That's going on my Christmas shelf. As well as A Christmas Carol Murder by Heather Redmond. Murder, bah humbug. It's a Dickens of a crime. So I love that play on A Christmas Carol and Charles Dickens, and I think that's going to be a fun murder mystery, possibly, to read at Christmas time. I picked up The Last House on the Street by Diane Chamberlain. I need to get this sticker off of it. Sweet, that came off really easy. The Last House on the Street is Diane Chamberlain's most recent. It's going to have dual timeline, 1965 and 2010. So in 1965, we follow Ellie, raised to be the certain type of proper Southern lady, enrolled in college, and all but engaged to a bank manager. But she is not as committed to her future or expected future as her family believes. She spends her summer break as a volunteer helping to register Black voters. And as she follows her ideals, fighting for civil rights of the marginalized, her scandalized parents scorn her efforts, and her neighbors reveal their prejudices. And when she loses her heart to a fellow volunteer, she discovers the frightening true nature of the people living on Round Hill. And then we go to 2010. Architect Kayla Carter and her husband designed a beautiful house for themselves in Round Hill's new development. It was supposed to be a home where they could raise their 3-year-old daughter. Instead, it's the place where Kayla's husband dies in an accident, a fact known to a mysterious woman who warned Kayla against moving in. The woods and the lake behind the property are reputed to be haunted, and the new home has been targeted by vandals, leaving threatening notes. Sounds really good. I'm excited for another Diane Chamberlain. Oh, I grabbed a puzzle. I forgot about that. A Flow puzzle. Is this Flow? Yeah. Home Sweet Home. Yay for a new puzzle. And then, let's see. Oh my word. This is a huge book haul. That's what I get for having no buy months. No, who am I kidding? Every book haul is a big book haul. No, I just got one middle grade, Spindlefish and Stars. I just thought the cover of that was pretty. This was a complete and total cover by Christiane M. Andrews. A girl from the shadows, a boy from the sea, and their spellbinding adventure. It looks very interesting. Another cover by was The Note Through the Wire, the incredible true story of a prisoner of war and a resistance heroine by Doug Gold. This is going to be set during World War II, an amazing love story inspired by the author's own family. I grabbed another World War II, The Last Checkmate by Gabriela Saab, and this takes place in Auschwitz, and a young Polish resistance worker held in Auschwitz as a political prisoner plays chess in exchange for her life, and in doing so fights to bring the man who destroyed her family to justice. That sounds really cool. A different take on things. 2 Christian fiction that I picked up this time around was The Number of Love by Rosanna M. White. This is the Codebreakers series, book 1. And ever since I read The Rose Code by Kate Quinn, I'm kind of very interested and intrigued by Bletchley Park and code breaking during World War II. This one is World War I and a female codebreaker. 3 years into the Great War, England's greatest asset is their intelligence network, field agents risking their lives to gather information, and codebreakers able to crack German telegrams for hints of the enemy plans. So we're going to follow one woman who is a codebreaker. And then Sarah E. Ladd is another Christian author that I've read and enjoyed. This is The Thief of Llanwyn Manor, and this is one of her Cornwall novels. Takes place in Cornwall, England in 1818. In Regency England, an advantageous match could set up a lady for life. Julia knows Matthew Blake, copper mine owner and very eligible bachelor, is the gentleman she should set her eyes upon. But why can't she steal her gaze away from his younger brother, Isaac? Historical romance set in England. I'm excited. And finally, I grabbed Sanditon and Other Stories by Jane Austen. I think this is the movie cover. I've never read Sanditon or Other Stories by her, so I'm not sure. Let's see what's actually in here. Okay, so this has Sanditon, Lady Susan, and the Watson. I could probably include these as short stories because they're all pretty short. I don't know what these are going to be like, but other than the 6 main novels of Jane Austen, I've never read these extra ones. So I'm looking forward to reading them next year. And that's it. That's it. Holy moly, that's quite a few books that I'm hauling in November. That's more than enough. And I'm sorry again to my booktube besties if any of these were in your stacks to give me. Let me know if you've read any of these and what you think of them, especially the short story collections. I'm very curious about those. And I mean, all of them really. Let's chat down in the comments below. I love talking with you down there, and thank you so much for hanging out and spending time with me today. It really does mean the world to me, and I appreciate you so much. And I look forward to talking with you in another video very soon. Bye.